And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics, and now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday on Spreaker Radio, Roar 1776 Radio, and MyCast Live Radio from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Also on 405 Media Radio every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time. In addition to countless terrestrial stations worldwide. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Podomatic, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day, simply by clicking on that little icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you want to comment or just engage me in conversation about anything. Call directly into the studio at 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. On today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. On today's show, we're going to do special segments with Sean LaFave, and he's going to be talking healthcare on his Geared for Wellness Corner. And Suzette Mailer will be here to explore her journalistic research. We're going to probably be talking about the Earth. I think that's what really kind of sets her off. But first, I want you to stand by for news. And right off the top, at 3:03 p.m. Pacific Time, it is currently 92 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, it is time for news, and what I would like to do is to give you a capsulation of what's actually going to be happening in the news today. You know, it's a little abbreviated version of the 10 things that you need to know for today, Tuesday, your daily look at the late-breaking news, upcoming events, and stories that will be talked about all day today and tomorrow. And first off, bombings leave Turkey rattled ahead of the election. The deadly blasts at a peace rally create political fissures across the country as President Recep Tayyip Erdogan tries again for a ruling majority in parliament. And who's looking for breakout moments in the Democratic debate? Well, Martin O'Malley, Jim Webb, and Lincoln Chafee, all running far behind Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, are hoping to gain ground with strong performances this evening. And why Putin wins praise from some corners of the Mideast. The Russian president receives accolades from many in Iraq and Syria who see Russian airstrikes in Syria as a turning point after largely ineffectual efforts by the United States-led coalition to dislodge Islamic State militants. Netanyahu, Arab parties foment violence. The Israeli prime minister calls on the country's Arab citizens to kick out the extremists among you amid a spike in bloodshed around Jerusalem. And dissolving heart stent passes its first test. This is really exciting. The device designed to keep blood vessels open performs as well as a conventional stent in the one-year study. This is exciting stuff. And where inmates with violent pasts may be allowed into firefighting units. The Associated Press learns that California's Department of Corrections proposes adding inmates convicted of violent offenses to a firefighting outfit made up of 3,800 prisoners. I'm not sure what you think about that. Violent offenses? Kind of bothers me. Well, how about this? Studies of poverty, inequality, net a Nobel for a Princeton economist. Angus Deaton's research raises doubts about sweeping solutions to poverty and about the effectiveness of aid programs. And how El Nino could affect us West Coast drought. Affect the United States West Coast drought. Evidence mounts that the ocean warming phenomenon in the Pacific will spawn a rainy winter in California, but may also usher chaotic storms. Yeah, And actor Randy Quaid and his wife are held in Vermont on a fugitive warrant. The couple's wanted in Santa Barbara, California, on charges they vandalized the guest house of a home that they once owned. And then finally, the Blue Jays force a deciding game 5 in the American League DS. Toronto Stakes pitcher R.A. Dickey to a 6-run lead in an 8-4 win over the Rangers. Wow. Can you imagine? Big stuff going on in sports, in the world, and in politics today. Well, let's talk a little bit more in depth about that very thing. As a matter of fact, Clinton seeks to move past email woes in the Democratic debate this evening. That's going to take place in just a couple of hours. Hillary Rodham Clinton is entering tonight's first Democratic debate a weakened frontrunner, anxious to move past the controversy over her email practices and persuade voters she's the best qualified candidate to lead the party to a third straight term in the White House. Clinton, the former Secretary of State, faces her biggest challenge from Bernie Sanders, the rumpled independent senator from Vermont who has energized liberals with his call for a political revolution. Much of the focus in the primetime contest is sure to be on how they engage each other, given that they have gone long stretches in the campaign without even mentioning each other's names. Joining them on stage in Las Vegas will be a trio of low polling candidates looking for a breakthrough moment: former Maryland Governor Martin O'Malley, Jim Webb, a former Navy Secretary, and U.S. Senator from Virginia in Lincoln Chafee, the Republican turned independent turned Democrat from Rhode Island. While Clinton maintains financial and organizational advantages over her Democratic rivals, months of Republican criticism of her use of personal email and a private internet server while in the Obama administration have shadowed her campaign and hurt her standing with voters. The Associated Press reported today that Clinton's server was connected to the internet in ways that left it somewhat vulnerable to hackers. The candidate and their teams focused elsewhere for the Democrats' first big TV event. Wow. I don't know if you're going to see it. I don't know if you're a Republican or a Democrat. It doesn't really make any difference. The truth is, if you're a Republican, you really need to be looking at this to see what they have to say. And if you're a Democrat, you need to look at this to see who you're going to vote for, and what they have to say. If you're not looking at the debates from both sides, you're making a huge, huge mistake. That's how I feel. Well, Dutch probe, the Buk missile downed a Malaysian jet in the Ukraine. The missile shot skyward from war-ravaged eastern Ukraine with deadly accuracy more than 6 miles up. It detonated just in front of the Malaysia Airlines jetliner, sending hundreds of jagged steel shards ripping through its aluminum skin at up to 5,600 miles per hour and shearing the cockpit from the rest of the plane. The 2 pilots and purser in the cockpit died instantly, and the Boeing 777 disintegrated and fell to Earth, killing the rest of the 298 men, women, and children aboard Flight 17 on July 17th, 2014, Dutch investigators said today in a long-awaited report. Some of the victims may have been conscious for 60 to 90 seconds, the Dutch Safety Board said, but they probably were not fully aware of what was happening in the oxygen-starved, freezing chaos. The tornado-like airflow surging through the doomed jet as it came apart was powerful enough to tear off people's clothes and leave naked corpses amid the fields of sunflowers. The 15-month Dutch investigation blamed a Soviet-made surface-to-air Buk missile for downing the Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur flight, but it did not explicitly say who had fired it. It identified an area of 320 square kilometers, it's 120 square miles, where it said the launch must have taken place, and all of the land was in the hands of a pro-Russian separatists fighting Ukrainian forces at the time of the disaster, according to the daily maps of fighting released by the Ukrainian National Security Council. Now, do not go away. When we come back, I'm going to have more news for you. I'm going to tell you about the Palestinians' assailants often leave behind ordinary lives. I'll tell you all about that.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And don't forget, coming up next, we're going to be doing the IRS losers. We've got some great cases for you. But right now, let's continue with the news. Palestinians' assailants often leave behind ordinary lives. They lived ordinary lives with ordinary ambitions: an electrician saving up to get married, a fitness buff, a worker in the butcher shop, a teen with plans to study in Europe after high school. But then these young Palestinians seemingly snapped. According to police accounts, some of them disputed they stabbed Israelis in lone wolf attacks. Motives often remain murky, but attacks have been escalating, with 8 Israelis and 12 suspected assailants killed over the past month, many in Jerusalem. The violence comes amid growing Palestinian hopelessness, particularly in the Israeli-annexed Arab neighborhoods of Jerusalem. Social media amplifies the anger as amateur videos make the rounds showing Israeli forces seemingly using excessive force, or angry bystanders cursing at wounded Palestinian assailants. Wow. You know, you've heard me say it before. I guess I should say it again. I can't say it enough. Don't you just wish we could have peace on earth? Isn't there some way we could all live together in harmony? Isn't there some way we could all mind our own business and let people just believe what they want to believe and not impinge on the beliefs of others? That's kind of how I feel anyway. Well, the United States draws a line on protecting CIA-backed rebels in Syria. The Russian military intervention to prop up Syria's government has brought new scrutiny of the CIA's secret support to Syrian rebels fighting Bashar Assad. But how far is the U.S. willing to go to empower its proxies to take on Vladimir Putin's armies? Well, the answer seems to be not very far. Countering Russia's involvement in Syria doesn't rate nearly as high on the scale as battling the Islamic State, which has declared a caliphate across parts of Syria and Iraq, White House spokesman Josh Earnest told reporters just today. After the CIA spent more than 2 years secretly working with Arab allies to arm, train, and fund thousands of so-called moderate rebels to oppose Assad, American officials have watched in recent days as Russian bombs and missiles have targeted those groups. U.S. officials and outside experts say the Obama administration is unlikely to protect CIA-backed rebels from Russian airstrikes by providing them with surface-to-air missiles, for example, for fear they could fall into the wrong hands and be used against passenger jets in a terrorist attack. There's also little appetite in the White House for a U.S. enforced no-fly zone in Syria, officials say. Instead, the U.S. has been continuing its delivery to rebels of American-made TOW anti-tank missiles. Rebels have deployed the missiles to great effect over the last 6 months, and even more so in the last week, destroying dozens of Russian-made Syrian armored vehicles. The CIA requires the vetted rebel groups it supports to take a video of every use of the TOW or TOW missile and to send the empty canisters back to American operatives in Turkey, according to Charles Lister, a Syrian expert at the Brookings Doha Center, a U.S. think tank branch in Qatar. A U.S. official confirmed the arrangement, speaking on condition of anonymity because he was not authorized to discuss the matter publicly. I wonder if he's authorized to discuss the matter privately. Who knows what's going on with these kind of things? Well, here is some real news. Not that I haven't been giving you real news all along, but Playboy to stop running pictures of completely naked women. Wow, can't believe it. You know, Playboy is about to find out how many people really do read it for the articles. The magazine that helped usher in the sexual revolution in the 1950s and 60s by bringing nudity into America's living rooms, or at least its sock drawers, announced this week that it will no longer run photos of completely naked women. Playboy has seen its circulation plunge in recent decades as it has fallen victim to some of the very forces it helped set in motion. First, it had to deal with competition from more sexually explicit magazines like Pit House and Hustler. Now, the internet is awash in high-definition porn. Playboy has decided that the answer is less skin, not more. You're now one click away from every sex act imaginable for free, and so it's just passé at this juncture, Playboy Enterprises CEO Scott Flanders told the New York Times. Starting in March, Playboy's print edition will still feature women in provocative poses, but they will no longer be fully nude. It will become more like Esquire and other magazines with PG-13 type pictures. The Times said the magazine has not decided whether to continue having a centerfold. Playboy became famous for publishing naked photos of some of the world's most famous women. Marilyn Monroe was its first centerfold 62 years ago. Although the change represents a major shift for the magazine, it also the latest step away from full nudity, which was banned from Playboy's website in August of 2014. That helped make the site safer for work and public places and enable Playboy to get into the Facebook, Twitter, and other platforms. Well, now that Hugh Hefner, as founder, is 89 years old, I guess sex and nudity isn't as big a deal anymore, right? That's kind of how I'm thinking about it anyway. Well, Clinton email server setup risked intrusions. The private email server running in Hillary Rodham Clinton's home basement when she was the Secretary of State was connected to the internet in ways that made it more vulnerable to hackers while using software that could have been exploited, according to data and documents received by the Associated Press. That's enough of that. Jeez. Clinton Surfer, which handed over personal and State Department correspondence, appeared to allow users to connect openly over the internet to control it remotely, according to a derailed records compiled in 2012. Experts said the Microsoft Remote Desktop Service wasn't intended for such use without additional protective measures and was the subject of U.S. government and industry warnings at the time over attacks from even low-skilled intruders. Now, that's enough of that. We're going to hear a lot of it tonight during the debates. I'm sure you're going to be interested in it just as much as I am. But don't go away. When we come back from these brief messages, we're going to talk about the IRS loses. The first one, it was a split decision for the IRS. The husband's responsible for family business taxes, but the wife isn't. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. And you know what? I don't want to waste any time. I just want to get right into it. This first case is an IRS split decision kind of deal. And let me tell you about it. It's a husband is responsible for the family business's taxes, but the wife isn't. Let me tell you, Jack Boyojian was owner and president of Far Hills Community Management Incorporated, a community associations management company, and his wife, Linda, was an employee. When Far Hills failed to remit taxes withheld from employees' pay, the IRS held Jack and Linda personally liable for more than $200,000. He as CEO and she as the firm's accountant. They went to court, and this is what the judge said. Jack's defense that he didn't know of the non-payment of tax it was just not credible, and even if true, not effective, since it was his responsibility to know. But Linda credibly testified that she dealt primarily with clients and did not have control over the checkbook or deciding which creditors got paid. So she escapes the responsibility. So now we're talking about $200,000, right? So are they going to stay together? Or are they going to get separated? Are they going to start filing separately? Or is she going to do innocent spouse? There's a lot of things going on here. Hopefully they'll stay together and work this thing out. But he kind of threw her under the bus. So I'm thinking that's a done deal. How about this? IRS loses. They cannot avoid answering questions. You know, they don't let you avoid it. Listen to this. A company filed a refund suit against the IRS. During the suit, it filed questions for the IRS to answer. The IRS answered them all by saying its attorneys lacked sufficient knowledge about them to give an answer. The company protested, went back to court, and complained, and this is what the judge said. The issue was not whether the IRS's attorneys knew the answers to the questions, but whether the IRS itself knew the answers. Now, dodging the questions by saying the attorneys didn't know the answers violated court rules and was non-responsive. So, the non-answer answers are struck. The company is allowed to ask a new set of questions in excess of what the court rules normally would allow as punishment to the IRS, and the IRS is directed to answer each and every one of them thoroughly. You gotta love this, right? God, I mean, it just sends chills up my spine. Wow. How about this? The IRS conceded. Now, you've heard me say it before. They only concede when they're pretty sure they're not going to prevail in court against you. Here's the deal. Airline ticket tax does not apply to ticket provider's fee. Sounds a little confusing, but listen to this. A business sells airline tickets to travelers. It buys them from airlines in arm's length transactions, changes their cost to the travelers, and adds its own fee. Here's the issue. Who is responsible for the airline ticket tax, which is a percentage of the ticket price, and does it apply to the business's fee? The IRS ruling is this. The business is independent, not an agent for the airline. It does not provide transportation, but only facilitates the purchase of taxable transportation. So, the tax is owed by the traveler and is to be collected and remitted by the airline, not the agency, on the cost of the ticket alone and not on the agency's fee. Now, you have got to appreciate that. You got to love that kind of stuff, right? I know, I just die for this stuff. I just love this stuff. I just love to see the IRS get caught. In this particular case, they made a really good decision. Now, you ever want to be a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff? Well, me too. Let's talk about being a fly on the wall inside the IRS. Oh, yeah, here we are. Now, these are not tax court cases, but these are precedents that were actually set down by the IRS with decisions that they had made and other things, and you can use these things to your benefit. But in this particular case, what I want to tell you about is you're going to find extremely interesting. And I'm going to start off with asking you a question. How do you lose a computer? Well, put your ears wide open for this. The Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration has disclosed that the Internal Revenue Service has failed to report to its office the loss of more than 75% of the IRS computers that went missing between January and June. According to the IRS, more than 47,000 laptop computers are assigned to employees. Many of the computers reported missing were lost because employees kept them in unlocked vehicles, left them on buses and trains, or checked them into airline baggage, never to see them again. Now, how standards have really dropped, because in the old days, before computers, when I was dealing with the IRS, the rule was that if you lost a taxpayer's file, it would be grounds for dismissal. Everyone knew that you should never leave a file even in your locked car, because if the car were stolen, the file would disappear. Well, the big thing here is when it disappears, when a laptop disappears, those laptops have access to every taxpayer's information: your name, address, where you work, the names of your children, the names of your spouse, your social security numbers, where you bank. You think that would be helpful to somebody with identity theft? Well, we already know that happens a great deal, right? And it happens with the IRS too. Can you believe that they lost 25% of their laptop computers? Good Lord Almighty. Anyway, while you're thinking about that, we're going to go for a small commercial break. When we come back, we're going to be with our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness corner. Don't go away. You don't want to miss it. We've got some great stuff. I got a couple questions to ask Sean anyway, so we'll talk about that right after these brief messages. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time. It is currently 92 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, my good buddy Sean LaFave is waiting in the wings, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be telling me what the temperature is in Newport Beach it's got to be a little cooler than what it is out here. But before we do that, I want to introduce him properly. And when I'm done with this, we always talk about the Geared for Wellness Corner. I'm going to have to redo this thing because he and I talk just about everything, not just healthcare and wellness. So anyway, let's get him in here and get him done properly.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean Lefebvre, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
Hey, Sean, welcome aboard. Good to have you here. And I know you're in Newport Beach, probably in your swimming trunks, sitting on a lounge chair with a martini in your hand, thinking about going out and dipping into the dark blue Pacific.
That describes it perfectly.
And what would the temperature be out on your porch?
86 degrees.
86. Well, you know what? That's not too bad. That's about 6 degrees different than what it is here.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. I'll take it any day. It works.
Hey,
it's beautiful. Of course, blue sunny skies, the whole bit, nice breeze. It's pretty awesome.
Well, we're expecting rain tomorrow, I think it is, right? Yeah, rain tomorrow. So we'll see what...
rain tomorrow?
I'm sorry?
I was going to say rain tomorrow. I say, Orange County, I don't know. I just expect rain about once every 3 months, and that's pretty much it. So.
Well, what's interesting, I saw a report earlier that we're not only headed for the El Nino effect with some major rain, but we've got some thunderstorms in our future as well. So we'll see what happens with that. Hey, listen, did you read about they have a dissolving heart stent that passed its first test? The device is designed to keep blood vessels open. It performs as well as a conventional stent in the first 1 year study. Have you heard about that thing?
It's a dissolvable when they put it in, and then after a while it just dissolves. No, I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that amazing? I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I suppose if it dissolves, there's less chance of any problem going on. But if it dissolves in pieces and it gets into your heart, I'm thinking that's not a good thing.
That was my thought when you said that too. I thought, well, obviously they must have put some research, and I guess I don't know if they put them in pigs or how they research them, but hopefully this thing dissolves evenly in very, very tiny particles. Because all it takes is for it to be dissolving, and one little chunk falls off, and you're toast.
But I was thinking, I wonder if it. I can't imagine that it's any less invasive than putting a regular stent in. But when they put a stent in like that, do they do open heart surgery, or do they go up through the groin and just and place it in that way? Do you know?
I don't. I believe that they get that when they put in the stent, I believe they go up through the artery. I don't think that they have to cut you open for that one. So I'm 99% certain. I could be wrong on that one.
Okay, so when they put a stent in, because it's a foreign object, does it require that you take any kind of medication to keep it from rejecting that stent?
No, they have different materials that the body will try to reject, and different materials that are more biocompatible. Mm-hmm. And so I would have to assume, especially with something that dissolves, that it's more biocompatible. It's just like when you get an implant put in. They use titanium because the titanium is something that your body.
Oh, that's where I was going. I was thinking in terms of the one that didn't dissolve, but so even in the one that doesn't dissolve, they use a metal that doesn't interfere with the body, right?
Yeah, I would assume it's like titanium or something that's biocompatible. That's not going to make the body have a reaction or build up any type of antibody towards it.
Well, it's interesting. You were talking about pigs earlier, and pigs seem to be very, very close to what human beings are, and they use a lot of parts from pigs for human beings. One of the things, they use the valves. They replace heart valves with pig valves because there's no rejection. This is true, and there's no rejection or anything when it comes to that. When people, if they have a heart murmur, they're having some kind of an issue with their heart, what they do is they do the open heart surgery. They replace that faulty valve with a pig valve, and there's no rejection. It just works like normal.
Yeah. Pigs are the one animal that are most anatomically the closest to human beings. Most people would probably assume that it's a gorilla or monkey or something along those lines, chimpanzee or whatever, but it's actually the pig.
Yeah. And I was.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I was interested. I spent quite a bit of time on the board of directors at Loma Linda Children's Hospital, and one of the things that I learned there was that they used to, for temporary purposes, they would use pigs' hearts, because pigs' hearts were the right size and they fit into the actual orifice where the heart goes, and they would do that. Well, at first, of course, they did it experimentally, but then they started doing that to buy more time for heart transplants, but they would use pig hearts because they were the right size and less rejection issues.
Yeah. Pigs are the ones that they're most compatible with. Exactly. I think there was a study done, and this is quite some time ago, obviously, but they did a study on cannibals, and I don't remember what the exact word was in the language that the cannibals spoke, but the words that they used to describe human meat, like we would talk about, beef, when we talk about pig, we would say pork. They have a word for pork as well, but their word for human meat actually translated literally into long pork. And so it basically, they basically said that people taste just like pig. It's the other like beef, I guess.
Well, I'm gonna take their word for it, but I was just thinking in terms of
this is one I can't give you personal experience.
Yeah, if you get a pig's heart or you get a pig's valve or something like that, I'm wondering if you lose your desire for bacon.
I guess then it becomes cannibalistic at that point.
Or if a Jewish person gets it, you got to figure out if it's a kosher pig, right?
Yeah, you're eating the bacon. You're wondering if it's your cousin at that point. You're like, oh man, I'm gonna have to move to Oklahoma or Arkansas now. Jeez, okay, great.
So listen, I've got one more for you, and I'm not sure how you feel about it. I kind of know how I feel about it, but let me just pass it by you to get your thoughts on this. It has nothing to do with health care other than the people that this involves, and it's where inmates with violent pasts may be allowed into firefighting units. Now, here's the thing. This was an Associated Press report that I saw, and they said that California's Department of Corrections proposes adding inmates convicted of violent offenses to a firefighting outfit made up of 3,800 prisoners. Now, before I let you comment on it, I wanted to kind of tell you where I'm at. Violent offenses? First of all, we just got done killing one guy and making sure that another guy can never escape in New York again because these guys were convicted of violent offenses and they escaped and were going to cause all kinds of trouble, right? Now we're going to release 3,800 people who are guilty of violent offenses, put them out on a fire line that I doubt that they're going to have more cops than they've got prisoners out there. And what's going to keep them from just running away from the fire and away, period, and causing more damage?
Well, that's interesting. So are you talking, when you say firefighters, you mean like forest fires or prairie fires or such things, right? So it's like a modern day chain gang, but they're fighting fires instead of digging ditches or whatever.
Well, yeah, but right now, currently, the Department of Corrections uses inmates that are not guilty of violent crimes. They can volunteer and get on these firefighting. The Department of Forestry get in these firefighting things and they get dropped in and they fight these fires in the mountains and all over the place. And they are able to get their sentences reduced because they put themselves into this dangerous situation to help society, and they don't get freed, but they get a reduced sentence. They get time off of their sentence as a result of that. And I think that's all well and good for white collar crime and nonviolent crime, but 3,800 violent offenders, I got some problems with that. How about you?
That's a tough one because you want to believe, okay, whatever the violent offense was that they were found guilty of, you want to believe that they're doing their time, they're paying their price for it, and maybe at some point they're even being reformed while in prison, and that happens, and in some cases it doesn't. People come out and they go right back to their old ways. But that's an interesting one. I have obviously never thought about it before, so I didn't read that article. But I can tell you that I believe that there are people out there who have a propensity toward violence. Mm-hmm. use violence in a good way or a bad way, and it's just a matter of what you're taught. You know, if you grow up on the streets and you learn how to live like a gang member and you have a propensity toward violence, then you're going to use that violence in bad ways. But if you grow up with a mentality of do right and protect others, and you have a propensity towards violence, you might join I'm not trying to, like, you know, this isn't trying to be funny. I mean, you could join the police or the army or the military of some type, you know, and you can use your propensity towards the violence in a good way to stop people from doing it. I'm not talking about police brutality. I wasn't trying to go with that. Yeah. But you know, there's that David Grossman wrote that short piece on wolves, sheep's, wolves, and sheepdogs, and he kind of broke it down in the same sort of manner that, you know, the wolves and the sheepdogs both have a propensity towards violence, but when one uses that violence to protect the sheep, that's the sheepdog. The wolf uses violence to harm the sheep. And so I think that if you could take an inmate who's proven that they can behave themselves or himself, and now you give him a chance, maybe he can use that propensity towards, whether it's that adrenaline rush that he gets or that aggression that he has built within him that just naturally flows, and you can use it to put him in a situation where he's not afraid to go in, where other people would certainly not even want to come close to that situation.
Well, you know, I'll tell you what, I actually support what you're saying, and I would love to believe that it's true. And I think that everybody, you know, they pay the price for whatever indiscretion they may have committed, and they should be allowed to get out and be free individuals and live an unsolicited life. On the other hand, I'm thinking in terms of 38 violent offenders in the state of California, and Jerry Brown thinking about his budget, and he's just going to let him out because he doesn't want to have to pay for him. This is a little scary to me. 3,800. I wonder what percentage that is. How many violent offenders do we have in the state of California? That number I don't have, and they didn't report it. But in 3,800 is probably just a small percentage of them, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not a very significant percentage, but again, I would, I would be like you. I would take the same side as well. But okay, you know, what if these guys run? You know, obviously there's got to be some sort of a system to, you know, keep them accountable for their actions, for where they're going, what they're doing. And, you know, so it's definitely a major concern, and that we do have a problem, you know, with prisons. We've been building more prisons. Something's not working in our society. And, you know, if this is a reform method that they can use that would be effective, I say try it. You know, I can't believe that our violent crimes are going to get much worse with 3,800. 3,800 people is like a drop in the bucket when you look at California.
But but you know, here's my thought, and I understand where you're coming from, and I applaud your thinking for that. I think that you're being unbiased and fair, and you're giving them the benefit of the doubt. But if we have 3,800 violent prisoners that we're going to put on that fire line, why don't we take non-violent prisoners? You know, guys that have 3 strikes, but they're not serious things. They never hurt anybody. They never shot anybody. They never, and put them on the fire line and reduce their sentences instead.
And I agree with that. And it goes, I agree. We take the ones who are least threatening to society and give them the opportunity. But it may be, maybe you got some guy who's an accountant and he's in. No, he was
not an accountant.
I'm just saying, you're talking about the non. You're talking about the non.
I know what you mean. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Anyway,
let's violent criminals.
No. Stop. I'm a minute over time. We'll deal with this when we come back from this commercial break. We'll be right back with Sean LaFave in his permissive attitude toward violent criminals. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Sean LaFave and his Beautiful Wellness Group in our corner, and we've been talking about putting 3,800 hardcore violent offenders out there to fight fires in the state of California. And Sean's going to be out there with a machine gun. And going after, yep, that's enough. That's enough. They're gone. They're gone. Okay, so here's the deal, Sean. I actually agree with you, and I'm playing devil's advocate, but it does seem to me that, in all fairness, that if they're going to do this, they have to offer these inmates something. And, for every day that they fight a fire, they get a day off of their sentence, something like that. Matter of fact, they do that in most prisons. For every good day, you get a day off your sentence. That's why the parole board comes in on different times at different places. But it seems to me that maybe for these white-collar crimes, or people that got caught in the system and don't really deserve to be in prison, it's just because of the laws that these idiots in Sacramento have created, then maybe those guys, if they're out there fighting fires and they're actually, it's a dangerous thing, maybe they should get 2 days off for every day that they're on there fighting the fire. And maybe they should offer this opportunity to them before they do it with the violent criminals. And I don't even know why they're picking on violent criminals in the first place, unless they've already asked all these white-collar criminals and they said, hell no.
And that was kind of the point I was making, was maybe these non-violent criminals are going, no, I did non-violent crimes because I'm not the kind of person that would stand out in the middle of a forest that's on fire and try to stop it.
Yeah.
So it could be that the violent ones are the violent criminals are the only ones that are going, yeah, man, I'll do that. They may actually jump with joy, thinking, man, I can go get my adrenaline rush and go do something that feeds my nature side of me that wants to get in a dangerous situation and do something good for society at the same time. I do believe there are a lot of people sitting in prison that, had they been given the right direction, would go do something and not, beneficial to society. I'm far from a liberal, that believes everyone is, deserves a second chance. I'm not even that kind of person, but I do believe that there's a lot of violent people out there who could have used their violence in a more productive way. Is that that's almost an, oxymoron to say that, productive violence, but I do believe it exists.
Well, and the one point that
firefighters.
Yeah, and the one point that you allude to that you didn't really say, and that is that when you're talking about violent crime or violent criminals, these are guys that aren't so easily intimidated by dire situations, and and I think maybe you make a valid point there. You know what I mean?
Thank you. Thanks. I agree. I do make a valid point. but no, it does make sense. Matter of fact, I have a cousin who's in prison for murder, and he's the kind of guy that he's totally fearless. He just stick a gun in his face, and he'll just look at you and you say, you better pull the trigger, because if you don't, I'm gonna take you down right now, and you're not gonna like the end result. He's just one of those kind of guys that he's fearless in the face of threats. Mm-hmm. And a guy like him would be perfect, but because of his past, even let alone the fact that, take someone who's already in prison, but because of his past background, he couldn't get a job fighting fires, in an organization like that. But he would be the perfect person for it because he is fearless. And there's a lot of guys out there that would jump at that opportunity. But I believe that a lot of them don't believe they would be given the right, or that they were worthy of it, or even that it was something that they could ever pursue. There's probably a lot of people out there who would be perfectly suited for it, who were raised in an environment where they were never taught that was something that was available and they could pursue it. And so I think it's a great thing. Why? Because it's a high risk job, and what? Why not give it to the guys that have a lot more to prove than the average Joe.
Well, but keep in mind, we're not just sending 3,800 prisoners out there, and we're not separating them all because we haven't got 3,800 fires. We're going to have to send armed guards with them,
Sure. But, if it's a reform program that we can make work, I'm all for it, And if they prove that it doesn't work, then scrap it and go back to something else. But, all I can think of is, FDR and his reform programs, and he got people out there, with the Conservation Corps and doing all kinds of things. And now these weren't criminals, but they were people who didn't have jobs, and they had no hope, and they had nothing to look forward to. And so he created programs to bring the country up. And our country is in a cultural depression, if you will. I keep hearing that we're in some sort of a recession economically, but I look around. Of course, I live in Orange County, so I'm kind of biased. I see all the beautiful stuff here. But even when I go back to Kansas or I go to other parts of the country, I just don't see the recession. I see people eating out all the time. I see people driving nice cars, and I don't really see most people suffering like when I think of a recession. But I think culturally, we are in a recession. The way the way we look at things that we used to think of as good, and we look at them as bad, and we have more and more people going in prisons because they're not being taught, whatever, these values that we used to have in our society, that our values have been kind of pushed off to the side for political correctness, and God forbid we should offend somebody and all these different things. And so our values have been pushed aside with all of that. And if this is something that can culturally bring us out of our depression, just like the Conservation Corps brought us out of our economic depression, then man, I say go for it. Let people be given a chance. A lot of these young men, they were never taught how to be young men, and maybe this is a way to teach them how to grow up to be men, because a lot of them were never, unfortunately there's a lot of young boys, or a lot of boys that grow up to be young men but never had a father figure, and who knows, maybe this is a way to fix something like that. And I'm just, speculating. Of course, theoretically, you have all these criminals out there, taking and pillaging, but I'd like to think that maybe there's something we can do in this world to change the direction that our country has been going.
Well, I'm certainly not opposed to giving it a fair shake, but I think you got to watch it really, really close. I would hate the thought that all of a sudden we put 3,800 violent criminals on a truck or a bus. We let them off the bus. We give them all shovels and hoses and hatchets and rakes and say go after it. And then all of a sudden they just disappear, and who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I agree. I don't know.
On the other hand, if you're in the middle of the mountains someplace and there's fire all around you, I'm not so sure where the heck you're going to go.
Yeah, I was literally just going to say, I'm going, but they are in the middle of where there's a forest fire or something along that lines, and it's not like you're dropping them off in the middle of Los Angeles or Detroit to go fight a fire in a building. They can easily just squirt off and be gone somewhere. But it's pretty tough especially if you're not familiar with living out in the wilderness. It's so easy. A lot can be dead overnight in a place, especially if it's on fire.
And my guess is these guys. I mean, first of all, think about it right now. It's out here it's 92 degrees. Out where you're at, it's 86 degrees. It's a fire. These guys are working all day. They're sweaty. They're hot. They're wearing heavy clothes. They're beating the fire back. They're working. By a few hours of that, they're dead. They can't run anywhere. I don't mean literally dead. I mean they're exhausted. They can't run anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't know. Sounds like a great idea to me. But and it is weird that they would specifically go for the violent criminals. But again, like we said, maybe it's because those are the ones that have the propensity towards standing up and saying, yeah, I'll take that risk, where the nonviolent criminals just aren't really into that kind of risk taking.
Yeah, and it doesn't define what violent crimes they're talking about. I mean, was it a wife beating? Was the guy in a gang fight? Was he guilty of murder? Is he a serial killer? I think it depends on what kind of crime the guy's done, right?
Yeah, I would. You would have to assume, but again, we're talking about our government here, so who knows? But you would like to think that maybe they're going to take people who have a violent history, but they're not going to take someone like Charles Manson and throw him in with the rest of them.
No.
It's going to be the guys the hardcore criminals. They're in, for they got a 90-year sentence. Okay, maybe they aren't going to be given a chance, but the guy who maybe his violent crime was he got in a bar fight or, robbed a liquor store or something like that. As much as robbing a liquor store is a bad thing, it's a far cry from being, a gangbanger who's gone out and killed, 3 or 4 people. And so, it definitely does depend on the crime and the criminal.
Well, as far as Manson and Sirhan, I think that they ought to take them both out together, handcuff them together, handcuff them to a tree in the direction of the fire, and then leave.
Yeah, that one would work. That one I could.
You know what? I could be a really bad guy. I hate it when I say things like that.
Well, see, I'm with you though, and that's where I talk about. Everybody has a propensity. Not everybody. I'm sorry, but there are people.
Just you and me, right?
Yeah, just me. But there are people who have a propensity toward violence, and it comes out in things like that. Like I'm the same way. If someone hurt, my son, God forbid for that person that I get a hold of you before the law does, because the punishment the law will give you is going to be far less than what I would give you, and I wouldn't feel bad about it. But I couldn't go out and harm another individual just because I thought it would be fun. Like these people who go out and what was that game?
Oh, this deal where they're doing the knockout punches. You don't even see
the knockout punches. Yeah, like that. I see every time I saw one of those, it just made my stomach turn. And I thought, who could I could get into a ring and get in a fight with someone like a boxing match.
Well, you got 45 seconds to put a cap on this.
Well, I can put a cap on it right now. So I say if we have these violent criminals and we can give them a second chance to prove that they can be productive to society and give them that second shot that they need, I say let's give it to them. If they prove us wrong, then we tack on even more time to their sentence. I say that it goes both ways. You prove yourself, you get a benefit. You prove us wrong that we should have done it, we're going to make it even worse for you.
You know what? I like the way you think, my friend. So listen, are we going to talk about anything health-wise on Thursday?
Yeah, so I have this great article that I was all ready to talk about today. So I'll give, this will be our teaser for Thursday. I just read, you know, and I'm always digging for these articles, and I found an article, and the title is Overdiagnosis and Overtreatment in Cancer, an Opportunity for Improvement. And basically what this article is saying, and it was in the Journal of American Medical.
Okay, that's the teaser, because we're already 15 seconds over. So listen.
All right, well, we're going to talk about the overtreatment of cancer next Thursday.
All right.
This Thursday.
I hate it when you get on the air and you start talking about all these other things. All right, my friend.
I love it.
This was true. I do too. I love it when you're on the air. Hey, have a great evening. Finish that cocktail. Enjoy the nice breezy air in Newport Beach, California, and we'll talk to you on Thursday.
Thanks, Robert. I had a great time. I'll talk to you Thursday.
All right,
Bye.
buddy. Take care.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:09 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 92 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, our own Suzette Mailer is waiting in the wings. Let me get her intro music in here and get her introduced so we can see what she has that she wants to discuss today. And now, Earth We can't live without it. Science, nature, and politics, from the skies above to the depths of the oceans below, the air we breathe, all of this from Suzette Mailer, our journalist who promises to fascinate you with mind-provoking details about our planet and all of its citizens of science. We're proud to present Suzette Mailer. Hey, Suzette, how you doing?
Fine. How are you? A little warm, but I'm fine.
What is the? But you live there by the water. You must get a nice breeze there, right?
We do get a breeze, but it's not always. Lately, it's global warming, and the water is surprisingly warm. I mean, it's I think about 70.
Oh, wow!
That's incredible, and so no wonder we have sharks. We have a lot of sharks out here. They're really kind of unnerving the swimmers and the surfers.
Well, it's interesting. As a young boy, my parents used to take me and my sister and my brother to Pismo Beach. I don't know if you know where that's at or not.
I do.
And we would go every summer for about 2 weeks in August, and there was this big celebration that we would attend. And you'd go out on the beach, and it was just lovely. It was just wonderful. But one of the exciting things is every once in a while, looking out past the breakers, you could actually see sharks' fins out there, and it was exciting. It was scary, but it was exciting to actually see that, and you start to wonder about all of this life that actually is going on in that liquid environment that you don't give much thought to.
You are so right, and you made a Freudian slip when you said my name, Suzette Mailer. You said Suzette Whaler, and I am going to talk about whales.
Well, that's great. That's great, but
that worked out well. Yes, sir.
It's mesmerizing when you think in terms of, I can understand you doing it because you really have an affinity to the ocean and the deep and all the stuff that's going on there. But for those of us that don't give a lot of thought to it, much less the preservation of what's going on out there, it's sort of a world that's out of sight, out of mind. And when every once in a while, you'll see a movie or you'll go on a vacation or go to an aquarium and you say, oh my God, all of that exists. We don't give it any thought at all.
Robert, you are so right, and I was going to head one direction, but before I do, let's talk about what the ocean is like. I was raised on the water. My father was a naval architect. I grew up building boats, and I grew up on the ocean and at tide pools and climbing the cliffs, and I've seen beautiful things. One time I sailed. I used to race sailboats, and I sailed up to Northern California. We ran aground a mile off the coast on a reef. There were no houses. I mean, it was pretty scary. Coast Guard came out, the whole shebang.
Did you lose the boat?
No, did not. Saved the boat, amazingly. We saved the boat. But we ran aground on a reef, and about 4:30 in the morning, the sun came up, and this boat was on its side on this seagrass, and there were elephant seal during mating season staring at us, and the starfish that were huge. I've never seen anything like it, and sea anemones, and all, just a plethora of colors. It was so beautiful, and I know a lot of people don't get to see that, and but that's what's out there, and we have to protect it.
Well, you want to talk. You want to talk briefly, if you're prepared to do it or not. You are very involved in the preservation of the serenity of the ocean and the protection of the sea life, and the fact that just a plastic cup takes 50,000 years to disintegrate. I mean, you want to talk a little bit about that before you get into your whales?
Well, actually, that is a part of the whale story.
Well, then let's get to the whales.
Well, what's in the news now? SeaWorld can expand a tank, but they can't breed whales. So, they're doubling the size of their tanks to 10 million gallons, 50 feet deep, and so the animal activists are still not happy. They begged the Coastal Commission to not do it, but it's with this caveat that SeaWorld cannot breed any of their 11 whales currently in captivity in California. But I have a question.
Well, yeah, but before you ask your question, I've got a question because you know what, and I suppose I'm just being naive.
I bet it's the same question.
I'm just being naive. I don't understand. I mean, so they're making the tanks bigger, and I understand that there are those people that are opposed to no matter what size it is, but I don't understand why it's illegal to breed the whales.
Well, I guess I just feel. I vaguely recall earlier interviews, but they think the whales might not be happy or they're a little depressed, and it's not natural. But I have to ask, well, first of all, the breeders and the vets say the animals are healthy and they are happy, and they certainly must be engaged. Mm-hmm. And so that I can't really speak on. But the direction I was going to take this, I have to ask, why aren't the animal activists targeting plastic ocean pollution? See, with global warming and plastic ocean pollution, which are both human-caused, mm-hmm. shouldn't they be going after the corporate and citizenry who are litter bugs?
Well, you'd certainly think so. I mean, isn't that just common sense? If we're going to talk about, let's just kind of focus it on global warming for just a moment, and then I'll drive it home because it applies to the pollution, of the oceans and things as well. And that is that these are man-made problems, and man can solve them. And I think we have an obligation to do it. I know that I've heard you talk before. You and Ray and your daughter were on vacation up in a beautiful, beautiful national forest or monument, and you saw these guys flicking cigarettes out the side of their car and throwing trash out. And it just seems to me, it's the same thing that happens around your neighborhood. I live in a nice neighborhood. You live in a nice neighborhood. So you see somebody drive by and they throw a cup out or they throw trash out, and you think to yourself, what in the heck is the matter with these people? Why can't they just save that and throw it in the trash can when they get home?
Or, they have such an accumulation of trash in their car, the single-use plastic that they get when they buy a drink at McDonald's. And then I've seen just the floor of a car just filled with trash. Busy moms, they've got to feed these kids. They have to feed the troops as they shuttle them around school, to different schools and activities. But,
and they ruin the planet that we all share.
They need to pick the trash up and not let it fall out of the car.
Yeah.
And the way that we celebrate and the way our fundraisers, they're very destructive to the environment. Every time it rains, I cringe because I know that all that plastic that's in the gutter is going to wash down the storm drains. Yep. and go out to the ocean. There's a San Gabriel riverbed that empties out into Seal Beach. Robert, you cannot believe the trash floating through there. And that is despite barriers. It makes it past barriers. A lot of it, I've gone out there and cleaned it up.
Well, let me ask you this. There's got to be laws that are just simply not being enforced. I can't imagine. Isn't that the case? Isn't it just laws that are not being enforced?
Yeah, that's what's going on. You see, when littering laws first came out, police were writing tickets, but it started clogging the the court system. So the judges started throwing it out because they just didn't have time. So the police stopped writing tickets because it no longer had teeth. Mm-hmm. So people have been getting away with littering, and I have to say it has grown worse. But the city of Los Angeles has a pilot program called ARC, and basically they've taken small misdemeanors and they're no longer misdemeanors like littering or. So
it's a slap on the wrist and nothing happens to the offender.
No. This is good. They've taken it from the court system, and people now have to go to the city attorney to pay those those bills.
Okay, now that makes sense. Not only should they have to
the court system.
Yeah, but not only should they have to pay the fine, Suzette, they should be required to go down to the San Gabriel River, because you can get in there. It's not like it's knee deep in water, and clean that sucker up. Now, we've got 45 seconds before we have to take a commercial break. You want to give some contact information or put a little teaser out there for our next segment?
You know what? I think everybody should check out algalita.org. That is a fabulous organization. That's the sea captain who discovered the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It's algalita.org. And we can talk more about him, Charlie more later.
Okay, sounds great. We're talking to our own Suzette Mailer, and unfortunately, I got her into a whole subject that was probably not what she wanted to talk about. When we come back, I have a feeling we will be talking about some whales. Don't go away. We'll be right back with Suzette Mailer right after these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live, and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses: website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Suzette Mailer, and I think we're about to talk about whales. Suzette, what do you think?
Well, that certainly is part of the conversation. Again, the point I made, I think that the animal activists should team up with the plastic ocean pollution activists and stop that. I think the SeaWorld is doing a great service to these orcas, because we're going to have whales that are not sick, and that might be the baseline we have for measuring whales that turn up sick.
Okay, so now I find that really interesting, because I've heard so many negative things and all the things that SeaWorld was doing, and then of course we saw all the ads, the positive ads about SeaWorld they were putting on themselves with regard to the whales and the porpoises and all the sea life that they have, and I think that you probably have an insight that most people don't have, and it sounds like you support the activities of SeaWorld and their efforts to keep their I was going to say animals, but they're not really animals, to keep their mammals and things, to keep them healthy.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's likely these animal activists might not understand the chemistry change in the ocean. The ocean is very ill, and it's making sea life ill. It's changed. There's so much plastic. There's a lot of BPA in the water, and it's affecting the thyroid of the animals. And so,
why isn't a SeaWorld looked at very much like a zoo, in that it preserves all these different species for mankind to observe and enjoy, and to try and keep them around?
Well, I mean, there is that aspect to it. Absolutely, and they have to make money, and it does engage the animals. I cannot speak on the. Well, it does. I would imagine it would engage the animals. I'm not an expert in that, but my point is, I go beyond that, and I think that it offers clean water for the animals, so that we have a baseline to draw from when we are going to see more sick animals wash up on shore. SeaWorld is going to have to expand some more to protect animals. We had a whale wash up. Well, they're washing up on different coasts, Spain and here Central Coast, and they opened up the digestive system, the stomach, and they found 250 pounds of plastic.
Oh my goodness!
In the stomach. So, a report came out. I don't know, something like 70% of seabirds have plastic in them. We're in a lot of trouble with the ocean. And so I think we need SeaWorld, and we need more SeaWorlds, and we need it to expand. So you're probably going to have people protesting your show after my comments. I apologize in advance.
No. First of all, no apology necessary. Second of all, I think that this is a show about opinions, and everyone's entitled to it. And in this particular case, I happen to agree with you. And so if they want to send me nasty letters, let them go ahead and do it. I've got a thick skin. Truth is, the truth is that I believe in the preservation of all species. I don't. When Cecil the lion was killed, I was really sad that happened. I mean, I don't think anything bad should have happened to that dentist. He did everything legally, whether you agree with it or not. But still, the idea that Cecil was an icon in Africa, and that was a sad thing. But I feel just as bad if a sparrow gets a shot with a BB gun, here in Capistrano. I get just as sad when I see an owl or a bird fly into a window and harm itself. I don't want to.
My God, do you know what you are?
What am I?
You're a vegan.
I'm not a vegan.
You are a budding vegan, my friend.
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, I was raised on a dairy. It's meat and potatoes straight for every day.
I know, but you have a heart for these animals.
Of course I do. I have a heart for even when I was on the dairy, I had a heart for the animals. But, there's a difference between the animals that we would put down for eating, where after they had lost, they were no longer productive. Now, did that mean that they deserve to die out? Probably not. But when there's a reality to the order of things, and that's what happens. You know, in nature, lions eat the weakest. They eat what they want to eat. Same thing with elephants or giraffes. Giraffes are vegetarians, but basically it's the same thing with human beings. And you eat things that sustain you. I don't feel bad about having a good steak. I enjoy a good steak. I also don't feel bad about having a good salad. I enjoy that as much. The truth is, both things were living things. The fact that you picked that lettuce or that orange or that peach, they were alive when they got picked up off of that tree or that bush. Mm-hmm. So I'm not a vegan.
I know. I'm kidding with you. I know
okay.
You are not a vegan. You don't look anything like a vegan.
I'm not even going to go there.
You look like a meat potatoes man.
And I am. But if you told me that if I became a vegan and I would grow hair on the top of my head, which is the only place I don't seem to be able to grow hair, I would still not be a vegan.
Oh, okay. I understand your love of meat.
Yes.
It comes through clearly. So, yeah, I think that, algolita.org, algolita means seaweed in Spanish, and Charlie Moore is a sea captain who is the one who attributed to discovering what has been coined as the Great Pacific Garbage Gyre. And he doesn't like to hear this, but this analogy, but it's not only 2 times the size of Texas, but it's expanded.
My God, 2 times the size of Texas?
Yeah, and let's see, what else can I tell you?
Is that out? It's out somewhere near Australia, is it not, or in that direction?
No. There are 2 gyres in the Pacific, but the one he came across is 1,000 miles off the northern California coast. So it's between Japan and north of Hawaii. So, but what he said is that 8 million tons of plastic are added to the ocean, and each year. So here's an analogy by Fortune magazine. That's equivalent to 1 municipal garbage truck pulling up to the beach and dumping its contents every minute.
Oh, my goodness.
The ocean cannot continue to take this. People, you have to bend over and pick up trash.
Who's the biggest?
See trash in the gutter, pull over and pick it up.
Who is the biggest? Who is the biggest offender, Suzette? I mean, is it ships that are out to sea that are dumping their trash and stuff overboard, or is it the storms going down the storm drains that are floating this garbage into the ocean?
In America, it is the storm drains and it's the beaches, but as third world countries, we have introduced fast food chains to countries that do not have the infrastructure to process the trash. So it winds up being thrown in the river, and then it's horrible. Kentucky Fried Chicken and McDonald's, and they want to make money, and that's why people should support Algolita, because Captain Moore has been shuttling. He spent his own money to buy and build and a research vessel, and he shuttles scientists out to the gyre. And what they're trying to do is create harm. Harm is a legal concept to prove that harm is being caused to the environment and ultimately to we humans because of certain activities by corporations, like single-use plastic and no end-of-use plan.
So let me ask you this, Suzette. I mean, this is actually much bigger than what I thought. I didn't realize that there were a lot of these gyres. It wasn't just 1 or 2. There's a lot
in every ocean.
Yeah, and so if it's not just a matter of re-educating the general public, what do we do to remove all of that trash? Is it even? It's this twice the size of Texas. It can't even be possible.
And it's not improving. It's not improving. Charlie Moore said you can't really clean it up. We're stuck with it. But he said we need to pinch off the entry points. We need to put covers over the storm drains. That would be if you could meet with your council people.
Put traps in.
and start getting those storm drains covered, and littering laws. Do what study the city of Los Angeles in their pilot program to see. Los Angeles was looking for a way to make to bring in more revenue. So they were losing lots of money because people were not paying ticket for their tickets, or they didn't have to. They were not being ticketed. By moving that, making it not a misdemeanor, and I don't know what it is, but people have to go to the city attorney to pay the bill, and the city attorney will follow through. That I'm sure is increasing revenue. I have to follow up on that. And I've actually introduced that to my councilwoman, Susie Price, here in Long Beach, and she's looking into it because the city of Long Beach is looking for ways to increase revenue for their city. I just think that there is a way. Where there's a will, there is a way. And we can improve our cities by just changing the way we look at things. If we just put our thinking caps on, we can stop this self-defeating behavior of littering and global warming, and we can make safer bike lanes so we can bike to work and we can take our kids to work without the threat of a car driving into the lane. And, that would be an interesting conversation. Shanghai and their biking system is beautiful. Cars cannot drive into the bikes. There are barriers for miles and miles and miles. And where there's a will, there's a way. And then go over and pick up the trash.
It takes cooperation, and it takes everybody in a concerted effort working together to make that happen. And I think therein is the difficulty, right?
It is, but it can be done. I mean, look at our seatbelt laws. That's a wonderful analogy of progress. I used to roll my eyes. I have to put a seatbelt on, and we did not belt our children in. And my cousin said she drove a Volkswagen bus, and she would put her son in his bassinet, and that bassinet would kind of slide across the floor in the van as she drove. That was normal, but you wouldn't think of doing that today.
Well, that's true. I mean, you know what? When we were raising our kids, it was prior to the seatbelt laws, and that's an absolutely true. We used to put them in we used to put a bassinet in the back of the car, set it up so it'd be back there, and there's no seatbelts or anything. Sometimes put them even there was like this, I don't know what you call it, at the back window. There's like a little hump back there. You'd put them back there, or you'd have them standing between you and your wife on a bench seat in the front of the car while you're going 60 miles an hour. How ridiculous! How ridiculous! When you say those things today,
when you think about it.
Yeah, when you say those things today, you think in terms of how archaic could we have been?
Yes, it is, and again, I've mentioned this before, but we had some visitors. I interviewed some people from Canada, and they are just taken aback at the trash in Los Angeles. You don't have that in Canada. He said there is no litter in Canada, but here it's everywhere. You can't believe it. So hopefully we will evolve as a state, a country, and we come to a point where it's absurd to see trash on the ground.
Yeah. Well, listen, we have 35 seconds for you to put a wrap on this.
Okay, well, again, let me direct everybody to algalita.com, ALGALITA.org, actually. Take a look at that research vessel. It's fascinating. They have all kinds of tapes. And you know what else, everybody? They are giving away free science kits. They have grants for schools, and they'll send a science kit with a sample of the gyre water and Charlie Moore's fascinating book called Plastic Ocean. You can contact them, and Katie, I forget Katie's last name. She will send you a kit. She's a science teacher over at Algalita. She'll send you a kit. So that's it.
Well,
thank you very much, Robert.
That sounds wonderful, and thank you. It was a great show, Suzette. You have a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you next week.
Okay. Take care, everyone.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Okay, so don't go away, because when we come back, we're going to be talking about the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teachings for your life, the Harvard Business Tip of the Day, and interesting but useless facts. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics at 4:41 p.m. Pacific Time. Currently 91 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what today is, right? Sure you do. It's Tuesday, October the 13th, and it's somebody's birthday. Oh, yeah, you know what? I kind of like this. It's interesting to know whose birthday it is each day. And today, it's, this fella, you all know him. You've heard of him anyway. He was born in 1947, a rock singer, guitarist, composer, and solo artist. He was one of the three singers for Van Halen. Happy birthday, Sammy Hagar. And Sacha Baron Cohen, born in 1971, English actor, comedian, and writer, most noted for his comic characters as Eli G., Barrett, Sadijev, and Bruno. And then finally, born in 1980, Ashanti, singer who rose to fame and is most famous for her Grammy Award-winning debut album. Well, what happened today in history? I can tell you, in 1884, Greenwich is established as the universal time meridian of longitude. That happened on October 13th, 1884. And in 1958, Michael Bond publishes his first story on Paddington Bear. And finally, in 1960, the 1960 World Series, Pittsburgh Pirates second baseman Bill Mazersky becomes the first person to end a World Series with a home run as the Pirates beat the New York Yankees 4-3. Wow. And now, there's a chance that the Chicago Cubs not only will get into the World Series, but wouldn't it be wonderful if they won it? They haven't since 1908. Wow. And my son-in-law is going to go nuts if they get into the series. I can see him buying the airline tickets now. He was raised in Chicago, and he just loves them. Well, let's talk about the quote for today. It comes from Lao Tzu, and Lao Tzu says, "To be worn out is to be renewed." Yeah, I suppose that's true, huh? Well, let's talk about the secret daily teaching for your life. Often when people first learn of the secret, they recall events in history where masses of lives were lost, and they find it incomprehensible that so many people could have attracted themselves to the event. By the law of attraction, they had to be on the same frequency as the event. It doesn't necessarily mean they thought of that exact event, but the frequency of their thoughts matched the frequency of the event. If people believe that they can be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they have no control over outside circumstances, those thoughts of fear, separation, and powerlessness, if persistent, can attract them to being in the wrong place at the wrong time. I'm telling you, folks, I know it sounds weird, but it's true, and it's all about a positive mental attitude. Let's talk about the Harvard Business Tip of the Day. And, well, what happened here? It didn't come up. Let's try that again. Every once in a while, I have a problem with that. There we go. Whoops, there we go. So the management tip today is the 4 questions to ask when you debrief on a project. Debriefings can help you accelerate projects, innovate new approaches to problems, and hit difficult objectives. More than a casual conversation about what did and didn't work, a debriefing digs into why things happened. It should review 4 key questions. First, what were we trying to accomplish? Start by restating the objectives that you were trying to hit. And then, where did we hit or miss our objectives? Review your results and ensure the group is aligned. Then, what caused our results? This should go deeper than obvious first-level answers. And then finally, what should we start or stop or continue doing? Given the root cause is uncovered, what should we do next, now that we know what we know? That, my friends, is good advice. Well, it is time for our interesting but useless facts. I like this part of the show. I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoy doing it. Right off, let's talk about the U.S. is the leading producer of strawberries and supplies about 20% of the world's strawberries. Can you imagine? That's interesting, huh? Who doesn't? Well, as I say, who doesn't like strawberries? But obviously, most people love strawberries. Did you know the Amazon rainforest produces half the world's oxygen supply? Which is why you need to preserve the rainforest. It's because of the forest, and they take in carbon dioxide and as a byproduct give out oxygen. They're necessary. You cannot get rid of the jungles. In the Amazon rainforest, 50% of the world's oxygen supply? Think about it. Well, here's one for you. We lose half a liter of water a day through breathing. Now, this is the water vapor we see when we breathe into glass. When you go, yep, that's it. Did you know that koalas almost never drink water? They get fluids from the eucalyptus leaves that they eat, which is why they love eucalyptus. Man. Reminds me of my mother. She'd been gone a long time. She hated eucalyptus. She was allergic to it. The smell would just drive her nuts. Well, you know what? If you take your age and multiply it by 7, then multiply by 1,443, the product repeats your age 3 times. Isn't that interesting? That's interesting. How about this? The average computer user blinks 7 times a minute, less than half the normal rate of 20 times. Now, I do find that interesting. Let me give you this little tidbit. Mexico City is sinking at a rate of 6 to 8 inches a year because it's built on top of an underground reservoir. Now, wells are drawing out more and more water for the city's growing population of more than 15 million people. Can you imagine? 6 to 8 inches a year? Wow. Well, let's see here. I went the wrong way. Let me leave you with this thought. It is considered rude to tip in Iceland. Well, there's a reason to go to Iceland, I'm thinking. Yeah, works for me. All right, now, do not go away, because when we come back, I'm going to answer your emails. And the first email that I've got sitting out there is coming from Peter Wheatson from Chandler, Arizona, and he's asking about startup losses. And I'm going to tell you all about that right after these brief messages, so don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live, and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses: website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:53 p.m. Pacific time, currently 91 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, my good buddy John Matthews is waiting in the wings. I'm surprised, actually, because I know he's been under the weather. But hey, John, how you feeling, buddy?
I'm doing much better today, thank you. I don't know what I came down with. I think maybe some liberal over Politicon came to the school over the weekend.
Well, I thought maybe you were hitchhiking to Las Vegas.
Well, it was an interesting weekend, and I got up and around today, feeling much better. But we're going to discuss some of that on our show tonight. Karen Sigmund from Rage Against the Media is going to be with us in our first hour. She was also at Politicon, and we're going to talk about some of the things we saw, some of the things that went down there, and some of the things that we walked away from the conference, understanding right now the left is much more organized than the right, and it became extremely evident. So we're going to talk about that tonight. And then Don Dix from Act for America will be joining us in our second hour, and we're going to be talking about the idea or a survey that Jake Tapper did about whether or not Muslims in America want Sharia law. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that, and maybe if we have some time, we're going to talk about Barack Obama's interview on 60 Minutes over the weekend. So
he got castigated, didn't he?
Yeah, it's where it changed. Somebody actually went after him, and he really did not handle it well. One of the things you know about Obama, when he has to talk without a teleprompter, his true self comes out. And so we're going to talk about that.
Well, it sounds like you're going to have a great show, and I want to tell you, you sound good, and I'm glad to hear that. I was worried about you. I hated the idea that you were suffering with the flu, but you got over it quick.
Yeah, as you get older, things affect you a little bit more than they did when you're younger.
Hey, John, you have a great show, and I want to remind everybody that John actually broadcasts Monday through Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific time. You can find his show easily on his website at theconservativesyndicate.net. You're not going to want to miss his show, and it sounds like he's going to have a fantastic show today. I know he's going to have a magnificent show tomorrow because I'm going to be on there with him. So don't. Anyway, John, have a great show, and we'll talk to you in a few.
Okay, you take care.
All right, buddy. All right, so that was our own John Matthews, and now it's time for us to get into the emails for the day. And I want to remind you that this is an entertainment section of the show, so we do our best, but some of the information that we get sometimes from you is just a little sketchy, so we always encourage you to see a licensed professional when you're going to make a decision like this. And so basically do that. They're going to protect you. They're going to save you more than they cost you, and they're going to let you sleep at night and not worry, because they're required to have errors and omissions insurance, which requires that they bite the bullet. If they give you bad advice, they pay the piper. Now, let's get right into our emails. The first one comes from Peter Wheatson from Chandler, Arizona. He's asking about startup losses. He writes, I did freelance work for a startup business that used the cash method of accounting, and it failed without paying me. Can I deduct my loss? Well, you know what, Peter? The answer to your question, unfortunately, is no. Even if there is a contract providing for payment, if the business didn't pay you anything, you simply don't report any income from it. Now, you don't get any deduction for a financial loss because you don't really have a financial loss. You may consider yourself to have lost the value of the time and effort that you put into the work, but the value of time and effort is not deductible. The IRS doesn't recognize it. But you might have had some costs involved that would get that a little bit of a deduction for you, so keep that in mind. Next email comes from Lawrence Berland from Milford, Connecticut, asking about a mortgage deduction. It says, last year I started building a new home to move into. When home prices started falling, I stopped construction to wait till to see what happens in the market. Now, I'm living in my old home. Can I claim a mortgage interest deduction for the interest on the loan that I used to start building the new home? Great question, Lawrence. And when you start building a new home, you can deduct interest paid on related financing as mortgage interest for a period of up to 24 months, provided the home becomes your main or second home at the time that it's ready for occupancy. You're still within that 24-month window, so the interest that you're incurring will qualify as mortgage interest. You can deduct mortgage interest on 2 homes. Keep that in mind. And for more details about the rules, go to IRS Publication 936. That's home mortgage interest deduction. You'll be glad that you actually did that. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Roar, 1776 Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and on 405 Media Radio every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google Plus, and Podomatic, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com, where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. On my next show, Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless, is going to be talking about wireless today. And Ray Mailer continues his series, The American Grid. I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then, when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed providing it for you and producing it for you. Don't forget to join me tomorrow for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. In the meantime, I want you, by the way, tomorrow's show, same time as this show, 3 to 5. And in the meantime, I want you to stay safe. I want you to stay happy. I want you to make everybody's life better because they touched you, because you touched their lives. In the meantime, until tomorrow, good night, everybody.